All right, just starting off with the injuries. All right, Smith with the shoulder, Perryman with the knee, Cager with the knee, Mims hamstring, P. Ryan ankle, May with the calf, Deshear with the hamstring, Basham ankle, Jabari with the quad. Chuma was not out there with a non-COVID related illness. So we'll just make sure that you guys are aware of that. All right, and we had a few guys that didn't finish practice. Cam Clark, dehydration, Barrios, Crowder, Hogan, and Herndon all kind of either had some tightness. So we pulled them out of practice to finish it off. And Herndon's was a chest, so they're evaluating him right now to kind of see what's going on there. I thought there was some good situational stuff that we were able to do today. Obviously, we're low on bodies right now. I had to make some adjustments as far as what we were doing, but I still think we got at kind of the end of that, training camp type things that we have to cover situationally, and we did get some good work in with the guys that were out there. So with that, what do you guys got?
Adam, with Chris Herndon, are you worried at all that chest is related to what he dealt with last year?
Yeah, I can't answer that. They said they brought him in to evaluate him. So I'll probably know more later today.
What's the extent of P. Ryan's ankle? Is that a long term?
I feel like we got lucky there. As bad as that looked, it's a low ankle. We had MRIs. We did everything to make sure there wasn't any kind of fractures, there wasn't any ligament damage. So, hopefully we'll get him back a lot sooner than the way that play looked.
Now, if you get to the start of the season and you're still dealing with these injuries, how can you as a play caller make life easier for Sam?
It's a good question.
Thank you.
It's I'll say this. Today was a good example when we did that 2-minute drive. Sam went out there confident, trusted those guys that were with him, and I don't think any of those three have been playing the positions that they've normally been playing with him, and he figured out a way to move the ball and finish that 2-minute drive the right way. I think when he's like that gives those guys confidence. They make the plays that they need to make when they're there. I think that's a big coaching point right there is, hey, you gotta trust those guys to do their job. These guys have been working hard. Just because they haven't been with you, it's a next man up mentality. We expect them to do their job correctly, and if you're confident in them, their confidence will be high as well, and they'll make the plays you need.
Adam, are you shaking your head at what you're dealing with right now with all these injuries?
Well, I do think we're not the only ones. I think there's a lot of teams in the league right now that are dealing with all kinds of injuries. It's just I don't think it's being publicized as much. You guys get to see this every day. We go through the injury report. So we're not the only team. We just got to figure out a way to kind of maneuver around practice schedule wise and get everything we can out of these days, whether it's a shorter practice or different kind of situations or more individual or walkthrough, whatever we got to do to kind of get us ready, and then just keep trying to get healthy, get guys back out there and get ready heading into next week.
Adam,
and you're right. The injuries are.
Sorry, Waz, you can go. Sorry, Waz.
Just to say, you're right. The injuries, you see them all across the league. Do you think that it can be attributed at all to guys not having had the full off season coming in? Is there anything to that? Is it just what's just kind of?
Yeah, I'm sure it depends. Every guy has such a different experience from this off season because how many guys had access to gyms? How many guys had their own home gym to where they could work out? But it's still never the same when you're with a group like we usually are in the off season, because there's a little bit of a competitive juices flowing, even when they're lifting and running. There's something about that, right? Like you're getting more out of those sessions, I feel like, than what you do if you're just by yourself. And I think the majority of guys were like that. Some guys probably didn't have access to anything, which is, probably why you see quite a few injuries. But, when we get back here and then you take the number down to 80, and for us, it's been 2 positions, especially or really 3 that have been hit, multiple injuries. Now all of a sudden, we were looking at rolling in today, and our only running backs were Frank and Le'Veon. And those 2 guys, their attitude was great, more reps for us. And I'm going like, no, that's not great because, we're 28 and 37. Like we got to be smart here. So, I love the fact that those guys were willing to go out there and carry the load. And Josh stepped up today and found a way to take some reps off those guys. But, wide out, same thing, safety, same thing, where you get low in numbers now. You're trying to manage it. You're moving guys. You're moving corners to safety to try to make it through practice.
With Mims, Adam, still being out with that hamstring injury, is it fair to rule out any kind of legitimate heavy early season work for him? Considering
we'll see. I'm not going to predict anything. Hopefully, we get him back towards the end of the week to where we can kind of see where he's at, how he's moving around, and see if he's used these last few weeks to really increase his knowledge of the offense. And, we'll get him out there and we'll kind of see what happens over the next, 10 days.
And at the risk of ruining my reputation, I actually have a positive injury question for you. How did it feel to get Poole out there in a full-time capacity, and how long will it take him to, get up to speed, conditioning-wise?
I'm really disappointed right now.
Yeah, shocker.
It was great to see him out there. He looked good working. Even after practice, his jersey wasn't a different color of green as everybody else's. The last time we had him out there, I just remember looking over and seeing him soaked, and I was thinking, wow, that was unusual for the first day. And he looks excited to be out there. He was bugging me for the last 2 or 3 days of, I'm good. I think our training room did a good job of making sure we're checking all the boxes and we didn't rush anything, even though he wanted to get out there. But to see him be able to get out there and the excitement he had, he looked like a guy that was his first day playing football. He was jacked up.
And one guy I haven't heard about in a while, Wasu. What's his status? Is he out for a long period of time?
Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember when he actually got hurt. I feel like it was a month ago, but it was probably only a week ago. It's probably going to be 4 or 5 weeks we're looking at here. Maybe another week longer. I'm not sure. I can't remember.
What went into the final kicking decision? Obviously, with Ficken prevailing.
Well, obviously, Brant and Hammer. Those guys are with those guys every day. They chart everything that they do. I think. Sam's been with us for a year. There's a lot of trust there, and I think he's done a great job in training camp. We just got to keep working on getting better. Which I feel like that's all these guys do, right? It's constantly working on their mental game. They're working on their physical game. It's like being a golfer. You just got to keep working on your stroke.
We'll take a few more for Coach.
Adam, what have you seen from Le'Veon these last 2 practices in terms of catching passes? It seems like he's been very active there.
Yeah, we've made sure that with some of our install, we got the majority of it in, and then now we've been mixing it up a little bit. We're trying to do a couple things that maybe we haven't done before, or he hasn't done before, or some things that really they weren't in the early parts of the install, and we've gotten really kind of pretty deep and gotten those guys involved. Obviously, since we were down to limited backs as well, we thought kind of really kicking into gear some of the passing game things with the backs this was a good time to do it. Just kind of being careful with the run game as far as we seem like we get a lot of bodies piled up there, and I feel good about when these guys get in the passing game, and I think he's liking the fact he can see his route tree really expanding, and we keep trying new stuff, and if he likes something, hey, we make sure that we run that again. If he doesn't like something, we'll throw that thing away.
He caught 66 passes last year, and yet it still seemed like there was more out there, like different ways you could utilize them. And do you feel that was the case last year?
So you're saying he touched the ball a lot last year, Rich? Is that what you're saying?
He got 66
Okay, I was just checking. Yeah, I mean, I feel like we can find better ways to get him the ball to help him create more explosive plays. We can get him in space better than what we did last year. I think that there was a lot of good that came out of what he did in the receiving game last year, but I don't think we ever really gave him enough space to work. Because that's his game. If he gets space to work, he's going to make a guy miss, or if a DB's trying to tackle him, he's hard to bring down when it's the secondary guys. So if we can keep finding different ways to mixing it up, whether we're formation it, free releasing him, putting him in empty, coming off a play action, I think we just got to really use the whole gamut and find as many different ways to get him the ball in space as possible.
Adam, is Desir close?
Yeah. I think there's about 3 guys. I think that I don't want to jinx myself, but I think there's about 3 guys that over the next 2 days we should at least see an individual and then progressing from there. So I'm looking at that as a big positive, especially because they're all DBs or wide receivers. It's the whole thing is making sure that we progress the right way so we don't get them out there and all of a sudden we lose them again. Now we're talking about it's going to be a while before they get back.
Is that it for Coach? Thanks, Coach.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Everyone, we will have Connor McGovern, Jameson